other types of mining as well, and I went to a deep cast mine, which I tried to get in but wasn't really allowed to. But there was this view of the Great Wall, all these pot plants, and that was very interesting because it just seemed to kind of sum up this idea of China and sort of tidiness of the place, but really being quite polluted. These women operate the winding gear in the deep cast mine. So what I really like about this picture is the sort of cleanness of the room. You know, you've got these floor tiles which are pristine, the machinery is painted up, curtains, marble floor, and then sort of dressed in sort of just ordinary clothes, it seems. And it seemed like a total contrast to this kind of heavy cable, the cable drums behind them. It just sort of seemed like a total world away from the sort of dirt and grime of the railway and the coal mine. It seemed like it's a very opposite kind of view of the area. So this is a portrait of one of the coal miners, one of the deep miners. So going back to the mine, the open cast mine, this is a shop that's kind of proved quite interesting to me latterly because it's been a bit of a spark in terms of thinking about future projects and that kind of thing. So this is essentially shows a group of workers going to work, and they are getting on the train, and the train will take them into the mines, about 3 miles, their journey to the coalface, operating machinery and so on. And there's no station or anything, it's just a train, and it just, I thought it was very interesting because it's the ordinariness of it and what people are doing and how they're doing it, and that's been a thought that's sort of percolated down to more recent projects and things that I've been thinking about. So it's sort of, it's a different time of the year, so you've got that contrast as well with the winter time, and bits of the landscape have changed. So you've got that sort of scrubland look, and I really like that image. These guys are working in one of the huts that dot the mine. They let me watch and play cards, and they're going to share some food with me. The mine itself is really kind of straightforward to operate in, quite surprisingly, because there was nothing in the way of a barrier. As long as you didn't go to the main entrance, you could go at the side and just sort of clamber in. I did make the mistake in the winter trip of having a bright red puffer jacket, which was a bit of a no-no. Not just because I was very visible, but because I hadn't factored in the fact that they would blow things up every afternoon. So you had many red flags wandering around. So it got a bit confusing. I did get kicked out a couple of times, but it wasn't for me. This, in a way, is a picture that started off my story, my project, because I was wondering how on earth do I photograph this area. I brought a flash with me, and I wanted to think about using flash and so on. And it was this that made me decide to just use natural light. So I've not used flash or anything like that for any of these pictures. It's all done with natural light. And so this is just somebody going to work in one of the I suppose what you call they are little hutons, they are little huts, sort of ordinary one-storey brick houses. Lots of these are being knocked down and being replaced by high-rises. So this is quite a common sight across China, but it's becoming less so. There's local cities and sort of the local authorities knock these buildings down and replace them with lots of flats. So just the feel of that, it felt like something from a different era. Felt like something from the 1930s in many ways, and I really kind of wanted to tap into that and use that as a sort of way of thinking about the kind of images I wanted to make. So after I'd taken that, I did a drawing of it, and I spent much of the trip drawing in the book, just drawing things that I'd seen, things I'd seen from taxis, things that I wanted to revisit, even if it didn't make sense, I'd be constantly doing kind of a drawing list of the things I thought I got, the things I thought I needed, and so it became a kind of an aspiration list, but that was very much the starting point of all that. And I think you need a toehold sometimes. You don't quite know where you're going with the project and how it's going to evolve, and a mood is actually very important in terms of trying to kickstart it and give it a feel. This picture I really like because it's kind of the title of the project, Red Star Black Gold. So a lot of these trains had a star on the front, and this is really the only proper picture of a train that I've got in the set, really. I think it's but what I did was, it was a slow exposure, long exposure, and so you can see bits of the sparks and so on coming out of the train in the smoke, and I really like that sort of intensity, that heat that comes off it. Because they're quite extraordinary objects, bits of engineering, and they do feel like they are alive in a strange kind of way, because they've got this sound to them, and they breathe, and they kind of, I don't know, they have a bit of a presence in the way that it's sort of things which are more modern don't. And I didn't want to be romantic about it, but I just wanted to try and get some of that on the film. And this building, the background, is where they bring in the coal, and they tip the coal onto a big crushing conveyor belt, and that gets graded and then shipped out across China. So it's sort of, it's the sharp end of the mining process in many ways, or the sort of end result of the mining process. These are some people making an ice channel. There are lots of frozen lakes and things dotted around the mine, and what seem to be commonplace is they cut channels in the ice in order to try and aid thaw around February time. This is possibly one of my favourite pictures of the set, because it was again done on the last morning, and that building in the background is no longer there. It wasn't there on the second trip, and I went in June. And it's I'd been quite obsessed by a book called I Love Fast Cars, and the book is by a fashion photographer whose name escapes me. Anybody knows the book? I'll try and remember it by the end. But he did a load of pictures of drag racing, and I got really into these because they're kind of, you can't see the cars very often. They're just sort of clouds of burning rubber and sort of smoke and that kind of thing, that kind of atmosphere. And as soon as I saw this, I thought of this image, and the fact you can't really tell that's a train, it's obscured. There was a figure standing, looking at me, taking this picture, but you can't really see anything more than an outline. There's a man with a mobile phone at the top, and then there's the factory, and the sun's peering through, and just the amount of pollution and just filth that was just flying around. I got very excited by it when I took it, because it just seemed to be a lot of what I really hoped for. And the other great thing was that I think because I took it on film, it got a lot of the sort of nuances and different tones of the picture, which really are important in order to try and make it. So you've got the sun which is not burned out. You've got the different tones of the smoke coming out of the chimney, and all of that dust and steam. And you can make out bits and pieces, but it looks like more of a riddle in a way. And I think that really adds to it. This was again from the last morning. In fact, it's just the smoke at the top is the smoke from the previous picture in many ways, because it's that train was just down on the track. So I clambered down. I could see this guy cycling towards me. I'd seen this channel that had been cut in one of the frozen lakes, and I knew he was going to cycle into it, and I just thought that it would make a sort of a great shot of him as sort of being right in the middle of the frame. what I like about it, it looks like a war photograph in a way. There's a sort of grubbiness. You can see the edge of the mine in the background, the smoke's hanging in the air. There are plastic bags and trees and sort of bits of rubbish, and it just looks pretty kind of grimy and horrible. This is a shepherd I met quite early on, hanging around the edge of the mine. So the mine's in the background, you can see bits of machinery, and there's not lots to feed these sheep on, but it's a pretty kind of desolate landscape, fairly featureless, because this landscape would have been the sort of tundra, I guess, and the sort of place where lots of mammoths would have been during the Ice Age and so on. And in fact, there was a very large sculpture of a mammoth on the entrance of the mine, so it's kind of very much part of the town's psychology, if you like. And this is my favourite picture of the whole set, and it is it's an experiment, really, when I took it, because I kind of thought, and this is sort of partly come out through drawing and thinking about the mine as a process and about time. And I thought, what would happen if you slowed it all down? If you just sort of got the right point in the landscape and looked at it in the right kind of way and slowed everything down. So you kind of got a drag of all this sort of slightly odd activity. You know, you've got these sort of plumes of steam coming out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that would be 10, because there's another one down there, 10 trains in this picture. You've got beams of light, there's a bit of red here, which is the stop light of a railway track. You can see that the shed's illuminated, there are various things going on, and that was probably about 2.5 to 4 minutes, I can't remember exactly. And you can see things like frozen waterfalls, and it just feels like a very odd kind of landscape. So you've got this sort of, feels like the surface of the moon in a way. And up on the left-hand side, there are lights of the new type of earth-moving equipment. So it's the new type of mine that it's going to become. In the background, you can see a power station, and there's actually a casino as well. So it's kind of got lots of different things going on in it, and it feels like a very surreal landscape, and that blue colour really gives it a lot of those qualities. So before I move on to anything else, do you have any questions about the China project, or the way I've shot it, or